All right, man. So, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared at all today. Hi. So, I wanted to do something because today has been one full ass year since I moved my dumb ass to Germany. And I wanted to do I haven't really done expat vlogs like that. I only really do expat vlogs when there's expat stuff that I feel like I need to talk about. But there hasn't really been any expat stuff that I've been feeling the overwhelming urge to talk about. So this is like the 1 year of me moving to Germany. And I'm like, well, let's just talk about what this year has just been. And primarily, the year was goddamn COVID. Like, basically, Germany has shut down. We barely got here. We barely fucking got here as it was. And things were still open and like normal. And it was weird going from like where things were kind of coming from Florida, which we're not going to talk about that situation. But coming from Florida, things were kind of sort of locked down, but not really. I was still kind of hesitant to go out and go around other people because it was just kind of weird. And then to come here and like the mall was open. It's weird enough going to an actual indoor mall for openers because, again, in Florida, they have all these open air like malls. And it's like, put a dome around that thing. But they've moved away from like out indoor like escalator, elevator music malls to more outdoor open, like you go in, every little store has this like own little brick and mortar building, and they've moved away from that in the US. So it's already weird to come here and then you go into a mall. It's like you being dropped back in like 1990s. And it's just like, what? But then, like, to go from, like, semi-closed down, where stuff was closed down, because I remember at the end of being there, I just drove around and I went to the mall or something. I went to Wiregrass, and, like, a lot of stores were closed, and it was weird, and then you get here, and then everything's open. It's already mind-blasting. So, you had that going on. But by the time we moved to the village that I live in, it was all said and fucking done. Like, Germany was like, nope, we are shutting the shit down. Everything is closing. Deal with your damn problems and don't get COVID. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm not mad at it because I would far rather have a government, I don't know, give a shit about the people more than they give a shit about the economy. Yes, it sucks to have your economy all jacked over, but again, you'd rather have a whole pile of dead people in a booming economy that nobody can do anything in, but you have a pile of dead people, so that's fucking happening. So I don't know. I just would rather, oh Lord, I'm getting all these bells and whistles, go away. But I would rather a government give a shit about me as an individual and care about my health and well-being than be like, oh no, money's all that matters. And there's been a lot of that going around. We were in France this past weekend. We were in Lyon, which apparently Lyon is the former capital. Back when France was basically run by the Romans, Lyon was actually the capital of France before Paris became like the capital. That was like a zillion years ago. So, but yeah, we were in Lyon and shit, where was I going with that? I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, so, oh, that's where I was going with it. We were going to go into this shop that was like this weird shop down this alleyway. And we heard some girl, and it was obvious she was American because she sounded American. She didn't sound Australian or from like New Zealand or like South Africa. She sounded American, and she was American. And she was on this whole ass diatribe about how it's kind of fucked up that you're not educated right. And basically, like, the history that you're taught in an American school is not the full story of the history. This is a rant that I've had for like a minute now. And it's kind of like, I always kind of suspected that I wasn't educated properly. But let me just throw out there, I I went to primarily black inner city schools, not for the entirety of my education, but basically from the 3rd grade up. And I'm going to say something that sounds kind of mean, but this is just my perspective as a black person. I don't think the education that I received was designed to take my ass out of not only Philadelphia, but it definitely wasn't designed to take me anywhere outside of the United States. So basically, I think the education, and I'm not blaming my schools, I'm not blaming my teachers, I'm not blaming anybody for that. It's the fucked up kind of system that we have that basically, it's all this abstract racism. And what I mean by abstract racism is usually better funded schools are in primarily white suburban areas because they want to people throw their tax dollars and pay higher property taxes for suburban homes than they do for urban homes, because urban homes are generally populated by poor and people of color. And they don't really want poor or people of color to be educated. This is going to sound so fucked up, but my theory is they want you smart enough to do the bidding, but dumb enough to never question why you're doing the bidding. And this is something I've said, I'm drooling to my husband multiple times, and I could be wrong, but just look at the state of shit around you. So I think for me, I wasn't really educated to handle life outside of the United States. Even though I kind of pride myself, I always tell people I'm pretty smart in sheer fucking spite of the education that I received. And again, I'm not blaming my teachers. I'm not blaming the schools that I went to. It was just the circumstance under which abstract racist shit happens. So when I moved here, it was like, I already knew I didn't speak the language, and I still don't speak that great German. I can read. That's the one fucking thing Duolingo has been really good for. I can read, as long as it doesn't get too in-depth. There are certain words that I can actually point out now, and I'm just like, I fucking know that word. I remember the first time I saw it said drive slow, basically in German. Drive slow, and then it had a picture of a frog on it, because we were somewhere, we were walking some fucking place, and I was like, oh, that says drive slow, and it's because of the frogs, and I was like, oh my god, and then I looked on the translator, and it said drive slow frogs, and I was like, oh my god, I could kind of read. Oh my god. So at the high school I went to, there was no fucking shot I was going to be offered German. They barely offered French. I think there was one French class in my high school, and I was not allowed to take that French class. I had to take Spanish, which in hindsight, I probably should have stuck with the Spanish, because little did I fucking know that almost 20-something damn years later, I would marry a man who's half Cuban, and my grandfather-in-law speaks nothing but Spanish. So I probably should have stuck with it, but I didn't. But oh fucking well. So it was bad enough that I didn't speak the language, and Germany is not a country that I know a lot about. I kind of know a little more about Austria than I do about Germany, even still, because I fell in love with Mozart. Mozart was Austrian, and we were all pro-Austria. Even though when I went to Salzburg, that is a rant that I have yet to get into, but we will get into that another day. So that is why I spent time learning about Austria. You would think with all the damn opera and stuff that I sing and whatever, that I would at least had taken the time to learn Italian. No. I should have taken the time to learn German. No, because apparently I'm not intelligent. But what did I take? Japanese. And I only took Japanese under duress because the teacher was like, can you take this Japanese class? Because they're going to shut it down if we don't take it. I'm like, all right, Mr. Freshener, I'll take it. But I'm not trying to learn Japanese like that. I learned Japanese the old-fashioned way, by watching raw-ass anime that's unsubtitled and figuring the shit out on my own and listening to J-pop. So, again, neither here nor there. So, I'm all over the place in this. But it's just been weird, because I'm telling you, the American education system has not prepared my dumb ass to be living here. Y'all know they had my black ass thinking that most German people, and this wasn't even high school that I learned about Martin Luther. This was literally fucking college level world history. And this is what this girl was saying. This was the rant. I went all around the world to talk about this girl and her rant that they didn't really educate her properly. And this is the rant that I've been having. So in college, I was literally in fucking college taking world history, and we learned about Martin Luther, and the way they made it seem was that Martin Luther had his little moment, was penning the fucking thesis. Let's break this shit down. It was a goddamn manifesto. That he penned his little manifesto to the church, and like everybody was like, yeah, he has a point. Let's do what this guy is doing. And it is not like that. There's a shitload of Catholic holidays in Germany that I had no fucking clue were holidays. Did you know that there's a holiday strictly followed in Baden-Württemberg, which is the state that I live in Germany, that's called Corpus Christi? And me and my husband, when Corpus Christi came around, we were like, we didn't know it was a damn holiday for openers. Because it wasn't on, I have a list of German holidays, and that wasn't on it because it's specifically for Baden-Württemberg. But my husband went to the store, and the store was closed. He was like, today's a holiday. I was like, it is? And I should have known. It was fucking Sunday-ass quiet here. And what I mean by Sunday quiet is there's quiet hours or quiet hours. Yes, there's literally quiet hours here in Germany. But Sunday and all holidays are like quiet day. So you can't really make too much crazy noise on holidays and Sunday. So my husband didn't go in the store. He's like, today's a holiday. I'm like, it wasn't on my list of German holidays. I look on the phone and they're like, Baden-Württemberg, today is Corpus Christi. And I'm like, the fuck? Corpus Christi is a place in Texas. So, and I have this conversation with everybody, and I'm like, did you know Corpus Christi isn't just a place in Texas? It's a fucking whole ass holiday. And everybody's like, it is? My sentiment exactly. So yeah, ill prepared for living in Germany, just as a whole. And I've gotten adjusted. I'm not nearly as homesick as I once was, which is a good thing. I still feel embarrassed to try to speak German. Still feel embarrassed when I like have to answer stuff in English. I know my doctor, when I had to go to the doctor last month or whatever, she was like, why didn't you learn German? I was like, because I kind of moved here during a pandemic and everything was closed and I couldn't take a class and all they were offering my dumb ass was Duolingo. And she's like, oh, well, you need to learn it. I'm like, I know, I'm working on it. I'm working hard. I'm doing the best I can. Stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. So, but yeah, it's just, I'm way less homesick now. And I am slowly, it's still a very slow adjustment. And then my husband wants to travel to other countries, and it's just like, I'm bare minimum, just know how to answer bare minimum shit in German. Now you got me going to France, and I have to be like, and I only know 3 fucking things in French. How to ask what time it is, how to say hello, and how to say goodbye. That is the extent of my French, and it's not getting no deeper than that. My Italian, which I should have learned because of all the all the opera shit. Like, I could get along a little tiny bit better than that when we went to Italy, but it was still like, and then I had to guide him because he was saying gracias. I'm like, it's grazie or grazie, not gracias. So then you throwing all these extra languages at me, and then my husband literally depends on me to translate for him, and I'm like, homie, I barely can get shit together. Why you depending on my black ass to be trying to do all the be doing the heavy lifting on the translating when, no, your girl don't be translating like that. I swear to God, if I had a superpower, I wish my superpower was the ability to communicate with all humans on the planet, either written or verbal, without, like, just knowing it as well as I know English. So, but I don't have that. But if that was a superpower, that is the superpower I wish I had. So, because it is, man, be throwing all these extra languages at me. I barely speak the one that I learned how to speak from Jump Street. So, and then it has to filter through the Japanese stuff, because Japanese is technically, even though I don't speak that very well, and I damn sure can't read it, but it has to cycle through Japanese. So it has to, it's like changing the language setting on a DVD. I'm revealing my age here. But it's like changing the language setting on a DVD where it has to filter through like 2 other languages. It's filter through English, filter through Japanese, and then maybe I might get the right language. But for the most part, I don't fucking know. But it just feels so weird. I've been here a year today. One whole fucking year today is how long I've been in Germany. And it's been, like I said, the village that I live in, top notch. Everybody has been nice and patient with us, and I am super fucking grateful for that, because I ain't gonna lie, we are a pair of dumb fucking Americans that don't speak the language, and I am embarrassed by that every time I have to be like, oh, sorry, don't yell at me because I don't speak German. So, I'm trying. Please don't bite my fucking head off. I'm trying my best. So, and I'm trying to get my husband, because my husband actually has a hearing impairment, and it's hard for him, and he's like a little embarrassed to try to learn the language, and I'm like, you going to get the fuck over it, because I can't be doing the heavy lifting for the both of us. I barely do any lifting for myself. I can't be pulling double duty for you. So, but yeah. So, my husband wants to go to another country, and I'm just like, we just came from another country this weekend. I don't know if our brain is ready for that. And I'm damn sure not equipped to speak a whatever, 5th, 6th, 12th language and try to no, I need a break. Like, nah, son. So, but yeah, 1 year ago today is the day we arrived in Germany. And I feel a little more comfortable. I just wish I could speak German better. But that was always going to be a slow process. So I just try my best to like get through what I can get through. But that's part of the reason I don't go outside, because I was be like Guten Tag, and I'm like, Guten Tag, Entschuldigung, just like trying to get out the way. That's like the one thing I know how to say is excuse me. Like, Entschuldigung, like, just so I'm just not in people's way, because I don't speak the language and I don't want to be that bitch. So I am rambling, and I'm going to do more rambling because I need to talk about something that has to do with something that I said I wanted to do. So I will be back in a short bit, and thanks for listening to me ramble on. And I guess happy anniversary to me for living here for a year and not losing my entire shit. So until shortly, later.